All right, we're all set to begin.
Thank you, Scott. Well, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the pre-agenda meeting, special Zoom virtual meeting for Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. I'd like to welcome everybody today. Before we get into roll call, Commissioner, I wanted to, for those of you that may not know, Chairman Carswell was unable to attend today. He and Brenda and several members of his family have contracted COVID. And so I would urge everyone to keep them in your thoughts and prayers, please. Now I'll move on to the verbal roll call. Commissioner Abley.
Here.
Commissioner Britton.
Here.
Commissioner Taylor.
Here.
County Attorney Simpson.
Here.
Finance Director Margaret Pierce.
Here.
And our County Manager Brian Steen.
Here.
All right, thank you very much. And moving forward, please let's eliminate as much background noise as possible in between speaking. If you would try to mute yourself until ready to speak, and please silence all mobile devices as well. And when you make a motion, please identify yourself before speaking. So thank you very much. Our first item of business is the approval of the agenda. And as you can see, the agenda was previously distributed, and we were asking for the motion to approve with the removal of consent item number 3, community development.
Jeff, so moved.
Okay, so Jeff, we're moving to approve the agenda with the removal of consent item number 3, community development resolution concerning no wake zone on Lake Roadhiss, Catawba River. As a placeholder during October, the Paradise Harbor Homeowners Association will meet and vote on paying for the requested buoys if approved by the Wildlife Resources Commission. If approved by the HOA, the item will be slated for the November agenda. So we have a motion by Jeff. Now I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Abley?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. That's 4-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much. Moving on to presentations. Animal Services, Pet of the Month, presented by Lindsay Stump, Interim Animal Services Director. Lindsay, are you there?
Yes, we will have a cat and a dog to present at the meeting.
Fantastic. Any questions or comments for Lindsay? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Another verbal roll call. Commissioner Abley?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes, sir.
And I'll vote for it to remain on the agenda as well. Thank you very much, Lindsay. Moving on to presentation number 2, National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, presented by Charlotte Edson, Executive Director to the Meeting Place Mission.
Commissioners, thank you for having me. The request is for a proclamation of the National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week, which this year will be November 14th through the 22nd. We are going to be sponsoring a media education campaign here in the county on rural homelessness. And I appreciate you, the support and everything for addressing hunger and homelessness here in Burke County.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Maynard Taylor. Scott just wondered, did we have a count of how many we actually have in our county of the homeless?
Charlotte, do you know?
I think our point of reference count was right. I want to say it's in the range of 70 this year was the point of reference. When we do that once a year, that's kind of our only real opportunity to look at that. But I can definitely find out for specifics, but I believe it was in the 70s.
That's fine. Just a question of wondering just what the count would be in our county. So that's fine.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I can get that. Sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's a good question, Commissioner Taylor. I'd like to know that as well, because I remember the point of time count. Can't remember what time of year is that. Is that in February?
It's, yes, it's at the end of January, early February.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Well, any other questions or comments for Charlotte? There being none, I'll just say to Charlotte, welcome to the new position, Executive Director. The Meeting Place mission is a great thing for this community, and y'all do great work. And so welcome aboard, and so look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. I'll do another verbal roll call. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte.
I appreciate you.
You are very welcome. We'll move on to the third presentation, EMS, recognition of receiving the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Plus Award, presented by Jason Black, Interim Emergency Medical Services Director. Jason, are you there?
I'd be happy to do that item for Jason, if you'd
Okay,
like.
please do.
Commissioners, this is an item to recognize the Burke County EMS for being awarded for the third time the American Heart Association Mission Lifeline EMS Gold Plus Award. This award is earned by providing state-of-the-art cardiac care for over a 24-month period and meeting and exceeding the AHA strict guidelines.
Any comments from any of the commissioners?
Just great recognition for the county, and they're to be commended for their good and hard work.
I agree with that, Commissioner Taylor, absolutely. Any other comments or questions? Okay, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much. Moving on to our last presentation is Community Development, Jonas Ridge Convenience Site Update, presented by Scott Carpenter, Deputy County Manager, Planning Director. Scott, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's good to see you today.
After you,
Thank you. We've been working on doing something at Jonas Ridge for over a year and a half. And I know, Scott, that you're really happy to see this Burke County's Jonas Ridge Convenience and Recycling Center and Cranberry Nature Park moving forward. It has been progressing slowly but steadily, and it really is going better than we anticipated as far as the community outreach goes and the studies and the things that we're finding out. So I just want to briefly go over some of the things that have been done and where we're at in that process, and then when we expect to finish the first phase of developing the convenience site and the nature park. So we entered into an agreement, pardon me, with Equinox and McGill to do studies on the site up there and to come up with a layout that would show the park as well as a new convenience site. So the first thing that had to be done was a site discovery. And with COVID going on and all that, we had to keep rescheduling, and showing up there at Jonas Ridge in the middle of nowhere with masks was quite a good time going through the woods. But we had to do discovery, and the first phase of discovery was to do base mapping and data collection. So that included things like looking at LIDAR and North Carolina One map, ortho, and GIS parcels. We also have looked at aerial photographs, the National Wetland Inventory, state and county data, parcels, hydrology, and contours, specially designated waters and archaeological and historic sites. So that got us to where we had our first base map layer. Then we had to go up there and do a site analysis. So the site analysis included several team members from Equinox, which included planners, landscape architects, ecologists, as well as engineers. And the studies for topography has been done, soils, the vegetation, the hydrology, which shows the floodplain, the floodway, wetlands and streams, the ponds and the bog. It shows the drainage patterns, as well as physical features of the property that impact the development potential for the property. And they also have assessed the site for cranberries and bog turtles. All these things are quite time consuming and take a lot of expertise to do. We have also done a phase 1 architectural assessment, and that was done of the old house that's there on the property. So we were looking at that. We brought in a professional architect from Asheville. I met with him up there. We went through the house, and we were basically doing a structural analysis to see if it could be saved or not. Based on that first analysis, the answer was yes. We believe that it can be repurposed and that some work will have to be done before we can go into phase 2 architecture to look at exactly what it would cost and what it would take. So we have to tear off the additions that were added to that structure. They're brick and they're falling apart. And we also have to clean the inside of the house out so that we can get in there safely and start the next part of the architectural assessment. So where we're at right now is we did a preliminary conceptual design. So for the Jonas Ridge Convenience Center, the concepts have included services that can be provided by the convenience center, stormwater runoff from parking areas and the convenience center, including low impact development, techniques that will avoid contamination with the bog and the treatment of the stormwater runoff. It included vehicular circulation and buffers that need to exist between the park and the convenience center, as well as strategies that will limit impacts for the convenience center to the bog or on the bog. Safe and efficient ingress and egress from Highway 181 has been looked at and built into the design diagrams, as well as aesthetic treatments for the convenience center. As far as the Cranberry Bog Nature Park goes, we have looked at parking for the park, which utilizes low impact development techniques. We've included trails as well as visitor access areas. They have been analyzed and shown viewing platforms or other features that will help visitors experience the bog without promoting user impacts. We've also looked and included measures to protect the quality of the bog and recommendations for natural and cultural resource interpretation. We are now in task 3. So we have 4 major tasks to be done. And task 3 is the stakeholder engagement. We were going to do various things for stakeholder engagement, but because of COVID, it's made things a real challenge to get together. So what we've done is we have gone straight to the source up at Jonas Ridge and decided that we would make large copies of the concept A and B that you have in your agenda packet. And we would also do a handout. So we did a handout based on concept A and B, and we took those to the convenience site itself. And we also took it to the mercantile store, and they will have been up there for 2 full weeks by this Friday. The first day that we were up there, I was surprised we gave out almost 100 of the handouts to people who were interested in inquiring up there, which astonishingly is better than what we get down here if we were to do something or ask for input. So people up at Jonas Ridge are very excited about the project, and they're really looking forward to it. Preliminary comments are that they like option B. We have 2 options, one that's based on the existing land that we have, And then we have concept B, or option B. And that one means that we would need to acquire a 5-acre parcel directly adjacent to the land that we've already purchased. So far, the county has purchased a 3-acre parcel, and the Conservancy has purchased a 17-acre parcel. So the 17 acres is what the Cranberry Bog Park would be, and the 3 acres is what the convenience site itself would be. So if you look at what we got up there, option B, that is the site concept if we were to be able to purchase an adjacent piece of property, which is currently delinquent in taxes, and we're looking at foreclosing on that property. So that's been going on for months and months. They're in the process right now of trying to locate heirs to the property to see if there's somebody that holds interest in it that we will have to make an offer to, or they will have to pay off the debt on that land, and we'll negotiate with them. And so we hope to have an answer to that by December, and I'm not quite sure if we will or if we won't. But what concept B does is it is the county would purchase the parcel next door, and it would separate the community center and the convenience site. There would be a one-way entrance for the community center and a two-way entrance and exit for the convenience site. The convenience site would be even larger, allowing for more easier access and additional services such as battery recycling and additional bins. The increased space would allow for larger engineered wetlands to treat in any runoff from the convenience site, as well as adding additional trails and space. Does anyone have any questions about option B?
This is Jeff, Scott. Just a question about the size of the convenience center itself. I see we're only showing one compactor site, and what happens when that pad has to be changed out? What's the consumer going to do while all that's taking place? Or I guess I'm a little concerned about is the site.
There will be another one after our discussions, after these were done, these initial draft drawings. We felt the same way, that there would need to be another box that could be left, and that we would expand this option B drawing.
Okay, I always just kind of feel like when I'm at these locations that we just go with the bare minimum size, and then it gets real crowded when you get lots of folks. I realize this site may not be quite as busy as some of our others, but I hate to go out the gate with something too small to start with.
Well, and keep in mind that the compactor will hold twice as much or more than what the single bins that are not compacted are holding now.
Right.
And one of the things we discussed about with option B was expanding the area of the convenience site to add more amenities, more drop-off bins, but also give us the flexibility in case needs change in the future in ways we can't anticipate. So option A shows a 25% increase of footprint from the original existing convenience site. And then option B would be further larger than that. It would also allow us to, and it's not quite shown in option B in this drawing, but move the entrance and exit road a little bit to the left-hand side of the drawing, up the road to tie in and make an intersection with, I believe it's Ginger Cake Road, but the adjacent road, making intersection that's safer for access and aligns more with DOT process. So we do feel that option B would provide us a lot of options moving forward in the future. But option A is also pragmatic about this is the space that we have now, and this is what we can do with it.
Right.
But any concerns, yes, please send them to us and we will address them and bring them up with the consultants. The last task, of course, is putting together the master plan, and the master plan will include an overview and introduction of the vision and goals for the site. It will also include conceptual plans that you see in front of you, but they will be redone and updated based on the findings and comments. They'll also render a new site master plan. It'll include recommendations for the site as well as cost estimates. So that would be the next step after we close out the comment period on these preliminary designs.
Scott, what amenities would the employees have?
What amenities would the employees have at this site?
Yes.
So they would have a much better building, first of all, where they could get out of the weather. And that would also include a bathroom, you know, with flush toilets that will tie in to the septic system that the house will have when the house is redone. And it will also have water availability, you know, because we'll be putting in a new well at that site also. If and when the house gets redone, there'll also be amenities there, but we have not gotten to that architectural phase yet
Okay,
of
thank you.
how that house and what will be in it.
What is the vision for the house?
Well, we would like to repurpose the house. We'd like to have it display the history of Jonas Ridge, for instance, as well as historic pictures and that kind of thing. We'd also like to make it a place that's available for meetings and other things like that. And we think it might also be able to serve a purpose with the bog, and it will have bathrooms. And so that's a big purpose for it. And it'll have a kitchen as well, but that would probably be for the workers and small events. It's not a huge space once you tear off the additions.
Maynard Taylor, Scott, the timetable to construct this is how long? If you've got some hoops to get through yet, but provided you get through those, what are we looking like on a timetable?
So I think the timetable, we'll actually be putting that in the master plan. We haven't laid out clearly all of those steps and how long it will take, but essentially the first thing we need to get going is the convenience site itself. The park pieces will be ongoing, you know, through time, and the house and the preservation of the house into a repurposed structure will take time as well. So I would say convenience site is number one, Maynard, and should be able to be done within a year after completion of the master plan. And the bog and the park probably within 2 years, and the house probably within 3 years. So I know those things aren't rapid, but we look at it based on doing it right, and we look at it based on what's going on with the economy and things like that.
Well, I know in the budget, we approved the convenience center. We did not approve the park. Who's paying for the park?
Well, that will be a joint effort between the Conservancy and other agencies and Burke County, and it'll be based upon getting grants and other types of monetary sources like that. There's a lot of interest in the park, especially the bog, by groups from NC State, Appalachian State, and others that do environmental programming. And the Conservancy people are very interested in it as well. So
Any estimate on the cost?
Not yet. That'll be part of the master plan.
All right. the walkway or puncheon, is that the way you pronounce that? Puncaton?
That is correct.
Pardon?
That is correct. Puncheon.
Okay. I noticed there's no handrails, so how high is the walkway? And would somebody get hurt bad if they fail, I guess is the question. I guess my question is a safety issue.
And I can speak to that. Puncheon is a type of walkway. Another way to think of it is kind of a walking boardwalk. So it would be, generally it's a sill just sitting on the ground. Sometimes it can be elevated, but as long as it doesn't have more than a 2-foot drop, it's considered that it doesn't need handrails. So this would be lower than that. Puncheon is maybe 6 to 8, 10 inches off the ground. And it would have a rail on the side, kind of a bull rail. So it does comply with ADA accessibility standards. And it wouldn't be something that people would be biking on or moving particularly quickly on. So it would be a level surface that would be wood, it would be wider, and it would meet all safety standards and regulations.
Well, I notice it's 2 boards wide, so traffic, pedestrians, one-way traffic?
Well, ours will be twice as wide as the diagram that you see. We had that discussion with the architects and planners at our last meeting, but we didn't get a new rendering.
Okay. So it's going to be about 4 to 6 feet wide then.
That's right, probably about 4 feet wide.
Okay.
Wayne
That's all
Scott.
I have.
Oh, go ahead, Maynard.
So I
Yeah,
said, I'm through. I've asked all my questions.
Scott Wayne Abley. On the community hub, has the people up there seen this at all? Or, you know, we used to meet up there quite a bit, and they've got a pretty active community hub right now in that I don't know if it's the EMS building or not, but they've got a full kitchen in there. We've had meetings up there over the years. Do you have any idea how people feel about this up there?
So they love it, is my understanding. It was presented to the fire department last week by Kurt, so he took the renderings over to them, but these are on display at the mercantile store there.
Right.
And everybody at Jonas Ridge goes to that mercantile store, and Kurt explains it to them while they're in there, but it's also at the convenience site itself. And they've given out hundreds of these, probably about approaching 150 now, handouts to local residents. So my guess, Wayne, is that we've probably covered 75% of the people up there.
Well, I guess you probably really hit more than that, because during voting time, only about 80 people vote up there.
Yeah, I think we probably have. But, you know, it's been rumored up there for a good long time now, for over a year and a half. And it doesn't take long for word to spread at Jonas Ridge to what's going on or what might go on.
Well, I'm just curious because they're awful proud of that, of their center up there. And like I say, we've had meetings up there and dinners up there over the years, and they're awful proud of that center. I just wonder how that will all fit in with the people up there, you know.
It'll fit in very nicely. They're real happy that the county is showing them some attention and putting in something for them up there. And that's really all they care about.
Good. Thank you.
And additionally, the information is available on the website, and we worked with the IT department to put up a fillable form that people can go online and comment as well. And then that sends us a completed form with their answers, and we'll aggregate that with the direct paper responses from the Jonas Ridge community that we've been receiving.
Good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Anything else to add, Scott?
No, that's all I have right now. I'll be back to you as the master plan is, first draft of the master plan is complete. And I'll share that with you, what the final determination and numbers are.
Well, I
and
can
the
tell
next
you,
steps.
as you know, Scott, that because you spend a lot of time up there, and when we go to Ginger Cake and go to the convenience site, and as I've told you over the last year, and with the rumor mill up there, that question every time I go anywhere is the first question anybody asks me. So they're very excited about that. So I think
They
this
are.
would be great for that whole community up there. So, thank you so much for the presentation. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes, sir.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Great job. Moving on, item number 4, there are no scheduled public hearings, so we'll move on to item number 5, the consent agenda. And Madam Clerk, I'll turn it over to you for the reappointment to Drexel Planning Board, ETJ.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. This is a request to reappoint Scott Dula to the Drexel Planning Board for the ETJ, seat number 2, as a regular member for the remainder of a 3-year term ending April 30th, 2023.
Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Without
Glad to
objection,
have his interest and he's willing to serve again.
absolutely. Any other comments? Okay, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 2 under the consent agenda, community development, approve purchase of Fontaflora OVT easements presented by Shane Prisby, Community Development Operations Manager. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. The Community Development Department has been working with landowners to secure the final easements needed to connect the Fontaflora and Over Mountain Victory trails in the Benfields Landing area of Lake James. The original deal for these easements was approved by the board, but subsequently fell apart and had to be renegotiated. During that time, the land changed hands and a number of other factors. So we've been able to work out an agreement that we're happy with. And the easements would be purchased from funds from Duke Energy Comprehensive Relicensing Agreement of the Catawba Wateree Dam System. And this first easement would be across parcel number 17439229998 for a price of $20,000. And the second is across parcel number 17530200961 for a price of $20,000. So this would be the Duke Energy funding for the Over Mountain Victory Trail, would allow us to complete the final segments between County Park and the Bridgewater dams. So these are critical pieces of trail for us. And once we have this, that's more than 2/3 of the lake. Really, this is kind of the final piece of the puzzle to get us around Lake James. And one thing that we've learned since the last deal was that we will be able to use the purchase of these easements to leverage against grant funding for construction. So we have a time window where that purchase would be allowable as match in kind.
Thank you, Shane. Any questions for Shane on this particular item?
Scott Maynard Taylor, I had two. I see the graph down there. I guess I could have measured it, but the length of this easement and the width of it, what are we talking about on that, Shane?
These easements would be 25 feet wide from end to end, so 12.5 feet from center. It's about 3/4 of a mile. I don't have the measurements in front of me divided by parcel, and I can get that to you.
Is both 3/4 of a mile or the entire thing?
that would be the entire thing.
Why do we have the big loop there? Could you not just go straight along the border?
The dotted line is an easement that we already have. And the dotted line on the far left-hand side of the map is on state park land. So this is the connection between those points of existing sections of trail. We included in to the design the legal access to be on the road should we have any other need to connect in on that side. So it gives us the options in the future of tying in with different parts of the campground or other situations. So that would be part of it, but the trail as designed would follow where you see the dotted line coming through to crossing on Benfield's Landing to some existing easements we have by the lake itself.
Any other?
Is the terrain, one follow-up question, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Is the terrain so bad you can't go straight there?
Yes, that is correct. It's a quite steep parcel. So as you can see on the left-hand side of the solid line, it's what we call switchbacks. That is to be able to gain elevation in a short area, given the terrain. Scott and I have walked this parcel several times, refining the line to get to something that we feel is buildable in that area and meets with all of the wishes of the landowners to convey the easements to us.
The thing to remember, Maynard, is we try to stay at 5% grade and no more than 10% over a short distance, which is a real challenge when you're dumping 200 feet of elevation over a short distance. So that's why we have to meander the line in order to get those grades to be consistent.
Well, see, that's the reason that's what I thought when I looked at it earlier today. But the brown part right through that, where you got easement 1, that looks like a low place. And I just wondered why it would be much less expensive and shorter just to go straight through there. But
that's an old road you're looking at there, Maynard. It's all washed out and it's super steep. You wouldn't want to build a house on that road. It's probably 20% grade.
Oh, okay.
Maybe more.
That answers the
And
question.
the line through the center of the parcel is a power line easement, the high tension distribution lines. And it's essentially just straight up and down. And you can't build a trail through that wouldn't become essentially a log flume in a matter of months. So this is a design we feel that is sustainable and buildable, which also decreases the maintenance efforts and cost in the long term.
This
All
is
right,
taking 2
thank you.
years of negotiation.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions for Shane? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes, sir.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much, Shane. We removed item 3 from the agenda to next month. And so we'll move on to item number 4, JCPC, reappointment to seat number 1, presented by Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. This is a request to reappoint Mr. Mike Swan to seat number 1, school superintendent or designee to the JCPC for the remainder of a 2-year term ending June 30th, 2020.
2020.
Hey, look. Yeah, that should probably be 2022.
2022.
Yep, so we're just reappointing Mr. Swan to complete another 2-year term.
Fantastic, and we'll get that corrected to 2022. Any
Mhm.
questions or comments for Kay? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes,
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item number 5 under consent agenda, Tax Department Tax Collection Report for September 2020, presented by Danny Eisenhower, our Tax Administrator. Danny, you there?
I'm here. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Tax collection report covers the period from July 1st, 2020 through September 30th of 2020. Property tax, we're at 68.15% collected. Motor vehicle tax at 30.56% collected, which brings our current year tax at overall at 64.61. The delinquent taxes were at 44.78% and late list penalty at 63.79. Property tax by itself, based on the levy, not on the budget, we're at 66.22% collected.
Okay.
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Danny on the tax collection report?
Danny, is that pretty much, this is Maynard, is that pretty much in line with previous years at this stage? You got 3
Yes,
months?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I believe so, and I'll be glad to pull those stats and send them to the county manager to forward on to you if you like.
It's just not necessary. I just wondered if it was, if we were about even with previous years, so.
I would say we're very, very close there.
All right.
Any other comments or questions for Danny? Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes, sir.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk. Danny, I guess we can move on to release refund report for September 2020.
Yes, release and refund report for September. We had releases in the amount of $10,588.79. We had $6,143.36 rebuild, which gives us a net release of $4,445.43. We had $5,265.97 in refunds. Then on the vehicle tax, we have $313.74 in adjustments and refunds.
Thank you, Danny. Any comments or questions for Danny on this item? Okay, then. Thank you, Danny. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes, sir.
and I vote yes as well, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much, Danny. Moving on, item number 6, items for decision. There are none. Item number 7, reports. Those will be submitted to Kay for our regular October 20th regular meeting. And a few other items of note. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets. Please like us on Facebook. Please don't litter, and pick up litter. If you see it out there when you're hiking and biking our beautiful area, please pick up any litter you see, because it benefits us all. So at that, and our next, like I said, our next item, our next meeting will be our regular 6 o'clock meeting on October 20th. And so with that being said, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So
So moved.
Okay, I'm not sure who got there first, but I'll give it to Commissioner Abley. So I'll do a verbal roll call vote. Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all so much.